Does the group want to come up for a quick Q&A? I know that we are facing lunch, and I understand that, but we'll just be just a few questions for the group.
Where is to sit up there?
Do you dare to sit?
Sure. No.
Oh. Yep. Lisa Parker has her hand up over here.
I'm talking. Oh.
Hi, Brett.
I was distracted by the mayor. What was the question? Oh, fair enough, Lisa.
Hit this button, it's not working. So, two questions. One, the federal grants that you're getting for hazard tree removal with the uncertainty we have with federal grants these days, is there any issue with Powerhouse? And then the second question, what is HEA doing in conjunction with Lake?
Two questions. First one, and Lisa, tell me if I miss them. As far as the federal grants go for right-of-way clearing, which targets trees outside of our right-of-way, the borough has those funds, and so we're not concerned about that at all. We do have that funding available today. Relative to Puppy Dog Lake, I know that project is opened for bids right now, and I think the bid deadline is tomorrow. The HEA board has approved moving forward with some type of a solar project. Because it's still in an open bid process, I'm not going to comment on location. We are looking at several sites today, but it's very important to us to diversify our dependence on natural gas. We're not a big user. And one clarification, and we are the smallest co-op on the rail belt with Chugach, Janorschke Electric, and Golden Valley Electric up in Fairbanks. It's kind of ironic when you hear people say they're small, four small utilities. And I go, hold it. Homer Electric is the smallest utility of the 4 cooperatives, and yet we cover a very large geographic area, and we're twice the size of the average electric cooperative in the lower 48. So it tells me they really don't understand our business. That answer your question?
More questions?
We climbed all the way up here.
That's not what I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
I'll direct this to the mayor. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the borough's role in hazard mitigation. All right, this question is directly for the mayor, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the hazard mitigation funds and the wildfire funds that the borough is managing, both with HEA and also with all of the municipalities.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. And you talked about the grant funds that we've secured. We've applied for a much larger grant that would actually be a comprehensive program that would help us eliminate hazard trees all over the Kenai. I think we've had a pretty good partnership. I think we've made a big difference, but it's a fraction of what we would really need to handle the issue in its enormity. It's everywhere. It impacts just about every borough property. I think we've done most of our critical properties. We've partnered well, but it's 5% of the work that I think needs to be done borough-wide. And of course, our service area structure is effective on dealing with the other hazards that could be the first line before the state responds to a wildland fire that you fear so much. And we, of course, flew together during the last one. Two wildfires ago. The other 200,000 acre event. Fascinating to watch how much impact that can have on our utility infrastructure. So we'll be the first line of defense. Hopefully the state. I don't love the idea that the dispatch center was moved to a statewide dispatch center for wildland fires, but ours is so effective that I think we can step in advance of needing state resources and hopefully nip anything in the bud this summer, because I think it is going to be warm and dry, much to your chagrin. So we'll, I hope that answers your question.
Kaboom.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? Jason Oak. Been here for a while. This is my neck of the woods. I'm from up in Albert Valley. The art group there. 2 questions. Thank you.
I'm all up to the trick, I think. It's for the live stream.
What's that?
For the live stream.
Okay. 2 questions. One is I noticed you had Brent Sheets on your council for Southcentral Mayors for Energy. I did some work with Brent Sheets with the Department of Energy Core project. And we looked at putting that facility, a 30 megawatt facility on top of Usabelli coal up there in Healy. Has that been given any consideration, or is the NIMBY for the Glitter Gulch put a nix on that? That's my first question. Second question is, out in my neck of the woods, your former colleague John Coghill paid for the engineering and feasibility of Teakle Dam, 160 megawatt hydro project that would run year round. That I wrote a white paper on that would connect Valdez to Whittier with an undersea intertie for a fraction of the road belt intertie cost. Have you looked at any of those considerations outside of the rail belt realm?
Yeah, so what we focused on, and I have reached out to your mayor to join our coalition because we're all intertied. There's no, yep. Pardon?
We don't have a mayor.
Okay, you said Coghill's region, so I was talking about his mayor, but I think it's pretty important that Fairbanks join our coalition as well. We're open to evaluating any project in conjunction with this consideration. I was just talking to Andrew, who happens to be a legend. Well, and then he got a job, and he's got to, write differently and all that stuff. But he's an amazing man and very insightful. The Susitna-Watana project, I don't know why hydro doesn't have higher consideration. I don't think it's just the NIMBY. I think our society struggles with hydro for various reasons, but the bottom line is, look at what Bradley Lake has meant to our system, right? So we've kind of pushed aside hydro as a serious consideration because of the environmental challenges. Well, I won't say environmental challenges, I'll say the environmental lobby is powerful. But if we continue to struggle with other, and I'm like bullish on the Kenai. If I came across as negative, I'm painting a reality picture on schedule challenges. I'm not painting a challenge on our success. We are going to get through these issues, but for today's scheduling challenges, that was what it was about. I think we have to push to look at realistic options. I mean, there are some really solid ideas. I mean, your project is a real project. I've been looking at Windy since we spoke. We've got a resource that is undeniable. There are so many different things that we should be looking at. Renewables are real life. Our challenges are all schedule driven, but I think we have to evaluate every option, and if there's a little resistance, we have to push past it. If it makes sense and we're safeguarding fish and still able to produce enormous amounts of power with a forever source of fuel, it needs to be a realistic consideration.